Hello, fellow Willows fans. I'm Richard Haynes, big fan of Cosgrove Hall's The Wind in the Willows series. And every week I'm doing a video discussing the merchandise related to it, leading to all sorts of other aspects. And each week at the moment I'm celebrating 40 years since the original UK transmission of a particular episode. So this one is celebrating episode 4, The Great Steamer, which premiered on ITV in the UK on Friday the 18th of May 1984. So here we are 40 years later, and this week I'm going to do a bit of a bundle of stuff, to be honest. I'm covering activities, which basically we'll look at sheet music to begin with. We're going to then move on to exercise books, like activity books and so on. We're going to look at games, we're going to look at plaster moulding sets, and finally greetings cards. So quite a lot to get through. I just thought none of them really warrants their own video, so I thought I'd just bundle them together. And they're all kind of activities, aren't they? I mean, beginning with sheet music, of course, playing piano is an activity. And here we are with a wonderful piece of very rare sheet music that was brought out, I believe, in 1983. So around the time the film actually premiered, for the Open Road. So this I found quite a while back. I think it was on eBay, but it didn't come up with my usual search for Wind in the Willows. I think I just looked up Open Road sheet music. I was aware that it existed, but I've never seen a copy before or since. So yeah, good luck finding one, because it does seem to be really rare. But lovely sort of cover here, lovely green cover, and it says here The Open Road from the Thames television film The Wind in the Willows, produced by Cosgrove Hall Productions Limited. Words by Rosemary Ann Sisson and John Hambley. Music by Keith Hopwood and Malcolm Rowe. So it's interesting, I pointed this out before. Rosemary Ann Sisson, of course, wrote the screenplay for the film, and John Hambley was the executive producer for Thames Television. So together they wrote the words for this, and it's the only song in the film that does not feature lyrics from the original book. All the others did, so this was a completely original song for the film. We've got all the actors' voices recorded by Toe, David Jason, Ratty, Ian Carmichael, Roll, Richard Pearson. Shame we haven't got Alfred on there, because he also featured, Alan Bardsley. And we have With the Halley Orchestra on Red Bus Records. So this kind of coincided with that lovely single release of The Open Road that I reviewed on the soundtrack album video. And there we go. You can see they're Pluto Music. So they were called Pluto Music back then, and they still are. They still exist. And then distributed by IMP and Chapel Music Limited there. And it's a lovely sort of, well, I say version of it. It is the original. But anyone who can play the piano would obviously be able to read this. I do play the piano. My dad does and teaches it, and my two daughters are learning at the moment, so might get them to try and learn this at some point. So yeah, it's 3 pages, so continues onto the back, and it's got all verses. You can see here, It's a Life of Ease, verse 1, and then You Are Free to Roam, and so we sing our song. So there you go. Lovely sort of kick off for this video. And sticking with the subject of sheet music, we're going to jump way more into the future. Well, still in the past, but the future. I can't remember exactly when this was brought out, but definitely I think the 2010s at some point. This was brought out by Pluto Music itself, so exclusive to their company, their website, so you can order it directly from them at plutomusic.com. And it's the Wind in the Willows Piano Songbook, which is wonderful. This has been, I'd say, a long time coming. You can see I've actually got my copy signed by Keith Hopwood, who owns Pluto Music and is one of the half of the composing team, along with Malcolm Rowe, for The Wind in the Willows. Oh, there we go, we do have a year, 2014. Yeah, that's when this came out, based on the film The Wind in the Willows there, 1983. So this basically is a collection of sheet music for all the songs in the film. Just read what it says here. So the classic animation feature featuring the voice talents of Sir David Jason, Sir Michael Hordern, Ian Carmichael and Richard Pearson. Kenneth Graham's The Wind in the Willows, first published in 1908, quickly became a children's classic and has never since been out of print. Cosgrove Hall's 1983 film set the story in exactly the period Graham wrote about. Edwardian England, with its idyllic countryside, its gentlemen of leisure and its suspicion of such newfangled inventions as the motor car. Music and songs for the film were written by Keith Hopwood and Malcolm Rowe, and this book contains all the songs in the film in a simple piano format. So interestingly, first of all, we have the theme song. So you could argue that's from the series, but the music itself originally was written for the film, of course. And then we have Duck's Ditty, The Open Road, A Hero's Song, The Carol, sometimes known as Dulcie Doomon, and When the Toad Came Home. So, very lovely to have this. We've got the complete original theme tune there. Actually says here, Ralph McTell sang the theme song for both the TV series and the full-length feature version, which is included in the CD, yeah. So this does have a CD, so we'll come to that in a moment. There we go, that's all of that. And then we go to, quite a few pages, that one. Duck's Ditty. Little write up there. Mole meets Rat for the first time, who insists they row down river and partake of a huge picnic. On the way back, Mole has a go at rowing, while Rat takes up the concertina and serenades the ducks. So there we go, there's Duck's Ditty. And The Open Road. So this is a little bit wrong. Music and words by Keith Ward and Malcolm Rose. So we know that isn't actually the case. So maybe a bit of a misprint there. Rat takes Mole to Toad Hall and introduces him to Toad, who enthusiastically tells them of his new find, a horse-drawn caravan. To Rat's dismay, he informs them that they will all set off on their first adventure that very afternoon. And there we go, The Open Road. A little bit different, this version, this arrangement to that previous sheet music we looked at. And then The Hero's Song. The friends' gentle amble through the countryside is rudely shattered when a speeding motorcar drives them into a ditch. Rat is beside himself with indignation, while Mole calms Alfred the horse, but Toad is transfixed. He has discovered his next craze and no longer has any time for canary-coloured cars. Poop poop. Now, interestingly though, they're talking about that point in the story. Toad doesn't actually sing this until much later on in the film when he's on the train. But we do hear the music for this while he's obsessed with motor cars, and we've got that lovely montage. So it's the tune, but we also get the words, of course. Okay. Got a few pages for that one. Then we have the carol. After Toad's rampage through the countryside in a succession of motor cars, the friends lock him up in Toad Hall for his own good, but he makes good his escape. Mole and Rat trudge through the wild woods searching for him and come across Mole End. As they forage for food in the cold little home, they are visited by a band of field mice, the carol singers. Yeah, lovely little short piece there. And finally, When the Toad Came Home. While Toad is incarcerated for his wickedness, the weasels have occupied Toad Hall. Badger, Rat, Mole and Toad, armed to the teeth, make their way through a secret tunnel which leads right into the main hall. After a fierce battle, honour is restored. And of course, this song is sung by Toad as they make their way through the tunnel. And we have here CDs to buy, so Pluto Music advertising the 2 CDs, of course the soundtrack of the film and then the songs and music from the series. And then we have this wonderful little CD that comes with this, which basically features all the songs in the book but in piano format, so you can listen to them and find out how they're meant to be heard when played. So that's a lovely little addition there. So really glad that was brought out, and like I say, I'm going to get my 2 daughters, I think, playing these soon. Okay, so moving on from sheet music to exercise books, or in this case, a Wind in the Willows writing set. So this is quite rare, quite unusual, and especially in this condition. So I've got it all still sealed here, nothing near has been used, a little bit creased there, but I've got a lovely selection of items here. We've got a notebook, and we seem to have some pieces of paper, I think, those sort of small and medium-sized pieces of paper for writing or drawing. Lovely illustrations on these. I'll just go in close on that. Beautiful, taken straight from the series. Looks like they're taken straight from photos. We've got the classic sort of portrait of Toad there, that in fact is here. There's the photo of that there. And comes with a pencil in there. I've actually got a loose pencil, spare one here. Turn that round. There we go. It says The Wind in the Willows on it there. We've got all the characters down the side there. Very nice. Never going to use that. And on the back we've got photos of the other 3 characters. So this is lovely. Bought out again, it says copyright 1983. So very early on. And of course, again, so rare to find one in this sort of condition. So this was an eBay find. So really pleased to have that. And to complement that, they also brought out a exercise book, which comes with a little eraser there. That's lovely. So this again is sealed, so I've never opened this. But it's quite simple, I think, just lined paper inside. But lovely collection. I've actually got a loose version of this rubber as well, so we're going to have a closer look. Let's try and focus on that. Again, we've got the 4 main characters like we saw in that illustration, but that's the photos of them there. Look at this typeface. It's interesting. It's close to the actual typeface, the Wind in the Willows, but it's not quite right. But interestingly, because this is dated 1983, and I think they were still playing with the typeface, it might not have been quite finalised at that point. So this might have been the one they were going with at the time. Who knows? I've actually got one other version of this eraser, completely identical, except that the lettering's in red there. So again, eBay finds. Lovely to have them. These are actually sealed still, although this one's almost open. But yeah, I think there might have been other additions to this this range of exercise sets. I'm sure I've seen 1 or 2 others, maybe notebooks on their own, that kind of thing. So if anyone is aware of any, love to hear about them. Okay, so sticking now with the subject of activity books, this is a wonderful activity book that was brought out. I don't actually know when. It doesn't actually have a copyright date. It does have a 1984 for the characters, but there's nothing inside or outside it that suggests when it was brought out. I'm guessing sort of late 80s, maybe even early 90s. I don't know. My copy is in beautiful condition, except this annoying tear at the top there. But this was an eBay find some years ago. So this is all completely clean, so none of this has been filled in. So this is where you would draw your characters, portraits of the characters in these frames. You've got things like spot the difference here, join the dots. It's lovely, and it sort of tells a story as we go. I don't think it's necessarily the story of the original book, but these illustrations are lovely. Look at these, the caravan. Not anywhere near as close in quality to Beverly Bush's beautiful illustrations, but nevertheless they are quite nice sort of simplified versions of the characters. I love that of Toad in the car there. So all sorts of games and activities. This is good because it teaches children about the highway code. Got some road signs there, policeman stopping Toad there, and then you occasionally treat it to photos from the film, which is marvellous. That's an unusual photo actually, that one. Not sure I've seen that anywhere else, and if anyone else has, but that's a lovely one. Have to make bubble and squeak. That's lovely, and that's in keeping with the sort of, the meal that Toad eats in prison, of course. Toad's road game. It's quite nice. That's a photo I've seen quite often. So these are nice, aren't they? They're quite nice, lovely illustrations of the characters. They're definitely the Cosgrove Hall versions, and you could argue the proportions aren't quite right in places, but I like them. I think they're very well done. More activities there. That's what a Toad down there. His sword. Look at that, I love this. Join the dots there for the caravan. There's a bit of pencil there, looks like it. But overall, this is a lovely condition, and I've seen this pop up a few times on eBay, so it can be found. And, really nice stuff. Find a hidden shade. Look at that foxboard. We've got some colour illustrations here as well. That's quite nice. Wildwood game. What are they saying? Oh, we've got some weasel illustrations there. It's quite unusual. This is nice. Mole, Ratty, Badger and Toad all look as though they have got something on their minds. Write down under each picture what you think they might be saying. That's quite nice. It teaches children about observation and trying to read body language and expressions, that kind of thing. So quite nice. Unusual one of Toad there. Side on view there. Nice flowers, foliage, all sorts of activities. This is unusual, but back views of the characters. So those classic portraits that were done in the early 80s, they did back views as well. When do we ever see the back views? Very, very rare to see those. So that's quite interesting. So it's quite a packed book, isn't it? There's a lot in here. There we go. There's all the answers, so better skip that. I don't want to cheat. I love that final illustration there. Toad looking at the answers. That's almost suggesting Toad's cheating, isn't it? He's looking at the answers while Ratty and Mole are busy trying to figure things out. So really, really lovely. I love that there as well. British Academy Award winner. So everybody knows. Yep. So yeah, not super rare. And now we come to what appears to be a rarer activity book. And this is the Wind in the Willows fun book. Brought up by St Michael activity. And this is marvellous, this. I mean, this illustration I love on the front. It's very detailed of the characters, but it's got a lovely sort of thick, dark outline around them. So it gives it a lovely illustrative quality, but retains this sort of 3D quality as well. This is lovely. So we got the Cosgrove Hall production based on the television series with press out characters. If we go to the book, we get the same illustration. And then I'll just read this. All the TV characters from The Wind in the Willows, including Ratty, Mole, Toad, Badger, and all their woodland and riverbank friends, are featured in this entertaining book full of quizzes, games, and puzzles. There are also 20 colour figures to press out and stand up, and children will love making up plays for them, all using the 2 play sets provided. So that's the exciting part of this book. And we got here produced exclusively for Marks and Spencer plc, Baker Street, London, England. So let's delve into this. This is quite marvellous. So we've got some activities like the previous books and games and things. We've got some, look at that, jigsaw. You have to work out which piece goes there, and you can do some colouring in. This book I believe is clean. I don't think anyone's got it yet. It's interesting because some of these illustrations I actually recognise from photos that I've seen, on-set photos. This one of Mole I definitely recognise. Look at that, that's unusual. They put Toad, that's the classic Toad pose that you see in the opening of the series. They put him in a top hat, molecule, and suit. Press out, stand up fun now. This is where we move on to those press out characters. So you can see here we've got back views of the characters, and on the other side we've got front views. So this is where children would press them out and stand them up. Now I do have a collection of these loose somewhere, which are quite nice. I can show those in a minute. But I just want to keep this book in lovely condition. Lovely one of the caravan there. And here we have, you see there, we've got the wildwood, and on the other side we have the riverbank, and this actually opens up. I don't know if I can get it all on camera. So there's a riverbank sort of set, backdrop for those stand-up characters, and on the other side we have the wildwood. So you can pull that out and then create scenes in either the riverbank or the wildwood. So absolutely lovely. Got more of them here. We've got Alfred. We even have Oberon Mole. That's a lovely addition there. All sorts of pieces. We've got the weasels, otter. Lovely, isn't it? Really, really nice. So that's the main sort of section of the book, and then you've got other activities as well. Games and things. As you can see, it's quite a big book. And there we go. This was brought out in 1986. So see there, 1986 Octopus Books. And like I say, quite rare. I think I might have seen this since I got it, but yeah, I'm very glad I found that on eBay. And here we have my loose versions of these characters. So they basically stand up like so, something like that. There you go. And then obviously you would dress the set with the characters. So yeah, I think I let my children do this at one point. But yeah, I think what happened is I found these on eBay just loose. Someone was selling them loose without the book. And then I think I might have found the book at a later stage, and that's when I realised where these came from. So I think I do have spare backdrops as well. So yeah, lovely. Look at that little duck there. Which is lovely that they're reversible. You get the back views as well of the characters. So, yeah, absolutely lovely. Okay, now we're on to games, and this item I think a lot of you are likely to recognise. This is probably one of the most common pieces of Wind in the Willows merchandise, the Waddington's board game. So this was brought out in 1985. I had this as a child, but this isn't my actual one because that one got wrecked. I can't quite remember what happened to it. So quite a few years back I managed to find this on eBay. But chances are you can look on eBay today and find at least one being sold. They are pretty common, but it's absolutely lovely. This is basically a game where you travel around visiting people's homes and trying to get home safely by delivering presents to your friends and avoiding the wildwood. I've just opened this up. Mine's a bit tatty, you can see. It's not the best copy. And I'll just show the board here. There we go. You've got all the 4 characters' homes there. You've got Toad there, Ratty, Mole and Badger. Actually in the same arrangement that they are in the opening sequence of the series, which is quite nice. And like I say, the object is to play one of these characters and deliver a present to your 3 friends. So that's why we have these 3 sort of spaces there for each of the characters. But if you land on a weasel, I believe you have to make your way into the wildwood. And there's a weasel sort of chasing you around here. Something like that anyway. I played it with my children and it's good fun. Really lovely. If I just move that out of the way for a minute, we can have a look at the pieces. Now the pieces are actually made of wood and they're really lovely. So you can see there's Toad there. Beautiful wooden piece. That lovely green colour. And I love the simple sort of outline. Very, very simple illustration, which tells you instantly who that character is. And we have Ratty. Lacking ears, but you can see it's Ratty. Mole, that lovely dark brown, almost black colour. And there's Badger in brown with his iconic hat there, his glasses. And finally the weasel piece. Coloured red, I believe, to signify danger. And then we have sort of coloured pieces in the same colours as the characters, and a couple of dice there. I'm not sure these are the original dice actually, looking at them now, but maybe they are. And then you have this section here where it explains all the instructions. So yeah, lovely, lovely set. Really happy to have it. And yeah, look out for it on eBay. It's worth grabbing. So this is something I was aware of much later. This is also brought out by Waddington's. And you can see, very similar front cover, but it's a card game. 40 giant-sized play cards. So this is a lovely, lovely little addition to the collection. Again, brought out in 1985. And I'll just open this up. I think I have 2 copies of this. The other one's much tattier than this. So you have the instructions there. Oh look, I've got 2. It's interesting. Right, that must belong to my other copy. But you can see on one side, vibrant red with the wonderful original Wind in the Willows typeface. And then we have the different cards here. Now they're surrounded by illustrations which I don't think they're Beverly Bushes, but they're very close. They're very similar. They're very lovely, certainly to that in that style. I should just turn these around, see what we have here. So we have Toad. There we go, quite a few of those. We have Mole, Ratty, Badger, I've certainly got these in order, haven't I? Weasel, as in the chief. Looking at these illustrations, they're really nice. And then we have a Wildwood card there. And a To the Party card. I'll just quickly read the object of the game. So the winner is the first player to collect 1 Toad, 1 Ratty, 1 Mole and 1 Badger card. That's nice. Just a lovely addition to the collection and a good fun game to play. Okay, to my knowledge, there was only one other game released, I believe, and this is it. Another card game. There's actually no year on this, so I'm not sure when it was actually brought out. Just says copyright Cosgrove Hall Productions. But it says here, play 4 different games: Happy Families, Pairs, Snap and Old Maid. There you go, you've got the instructions for each of those games on the back there. And if I just open these up, just look through some of these here. They seem to be in order. We've got a weasel card there, On the River, The Open Road, Hoop Hoop, Washerwoman, badger, rat, more badgers, there's a weasel there. What have we got in this side here? Toad, mole, fisherman. I think that might be it. Yeah. So I think this is fairly rare, to be honest. I don't see this one often, but well worth tracking down. It's a lovely little card game. You can see my one's in pretty nice condition. So yeah. Okay, moving on now to casting mould sets. So this is quite a big item. This was brought out in 1986, and it came with plaster to enable you to make models of the characters. So we're missing Badger, of course, in this set, but this is a lovely, super rare item. I don't think I've seen one of these since. You can see we've got some photos there of how to make these characters. Got a lovely one on the end there of painting Toad there. Just see that. And I'll just take this lid off. I don't think there's much in here because it's super light. Don't have the plaster anymore. You can see there I've got that separate from there, so we've got the 3 characters there. Maybe you get 3 different ones, so maybe Badger can be found in other versions of this. And I've got the actual moulds. There's a mould there. Ratty. Yeah, unfortunately over time they get quite sticky, especially if they've been used. So if you use these, I'd recommend giving them a good wash afterwards, a good rinse out. There's Toad there. Okay, a while back, I actually made these moulds. So I did it with my children, and the moulds are great. You can see here we have Ratty. So I'd say the likenesses aren't absolutely spot on for these characters. That's not extremely right for Ratty. A bit pointy nose there, and he's quite tall when you put him next to the others. But they're lovely all the same. They're really nice. Don't know if we'll ever get around to painting them, but nice to have them made. Here's Toad. Not too bad of Toad. I'd say his cheeks could be wider. So the likeness isn't completely spot on, but yeah, not bad. And then here we have Mole. Shape of his head is a bit odd. A bit focused. There we go. So they're not super detailed, but they are quite nice. And this is nice that we've got copyright Cosgrove Hall on the side there. So yeah, look out for these. They're quite rare. So it seems like the characters were also brought out individually as well. So I only have Toad individually like this. It's basically just the mould itself. I believe it would have also come with the plaster, which I don't have with this. But I have seen other sets as well, with completely different packaging, and even with paints as well. I don't have any of those, but I guess just because they're super rare. But I'm very glad to have this as a sort of example of the individual ones that were brought out. And here we have a 1995 release. So this is a completely different plaster moulding set. And there's a bit of a story for this one for me. My brother tracked this down. This was I think he bought this not long after it came out. Maybe it was 95 or a little bit later. And it was a Christmas present. I remember Christmas Day opening this. I was intrigued by it. I had no idea what it could be under the tree. And I remember my brother distinctly saying, oh, this is something I think you don't realise was available. So I thought, wow, what could that be? When I opened it, I just couldn't believe it. It's some Winter the Willows merchandise from 1995. Now, I've learned since that there were some other items. Of course, I've covered the clothing that was brought out, and videos were, of course, still available, all the re-releases. But this is prior to the Channel 5 repeats. And it was a time when Winter the Willows, yeah, it was only really known through home video. So it's nice to know that there were items like this brought out. And this is a lovely set. First of all, we've got a wonderful illustration of the 4 characters on the front there. Really good likeness of them. I'd say Toad is a little bit wrong. Top of his head is a little bit high there in comparison to his eyes, but the illustration on the side I think is absolutely spot on. Look at that with Toad. Really like that. Love that we've got this, the authentic typeface, and also this illustration, which does appear on the odd other item. I'm going to cover something very special that features this in a future video, and these birds as well, and all of the reeds and and so on. Then we have a photo of the models themselves once they're built and painted. So although these are well painted, some of the colour choices are a little questionable. For example, Toad's checkered suit should be red and white, really, not red and yellow. But I'm being picky, aren't I? they're very nice. So the set, of course, comes with the moulds and the plaster, and I believe these... Well, let's open it. So like I say, inside we have the moulds. There's Badger there. And we have Mole. We have Ratty. Now, unfortunately, my Toad got destroyed. Very unfortunate. I can't remember what happened. I think he just... Yeah, got the condition of it just was terrible, and it just got damaged, so I had to get rid of it. But what I love about these moulds is that, and I remember this, you know, when I first made these, I thought that this was going to be the level of detail that you see on the exterior of the moulds here, which is okay, but very smooth and not very detailed. But what I hadn't really taken into consideration was all the detail that you find inside. So I'll show the actual moulds in a moment. The set comes with paints, which is pretty useless, to be honest. I mean, you want way more colours. Of course, you can mix colours, but these aren't the best quality paints. So for anyone who ever wants to make them, I wouldn't recommend using the paints that come with it, or the brush. This did have a brush at one point. Use acrylics or something similar to that. These are the little, I don't know what you call them, but you put them together like this, connect the teeth together, and then you rest those on top of a cup, and then the mould holds upside down when you mix the plaster with the water, so it allows it to set. So yeah, they're very, very useful. Of course, you have the instructions in here. Yeah. And there you have it. We've got the Thames International logo there. That's quite nice. And this was brought out by Peter Pan. And it says there are 4 models to make and paint, and as you can see there, 1995. So yeah, lovely little set. Really, really happy to have that, and yeah, very special to me for the reasons I told you. And here are the models themselves. So I'll just show these one by one. So I built these quite a few years back, and I just, I think I remember just painted them white. Maybe I'll paint them one day, but you can see what I mean about the detail. The detail is actually really nice. We've got all the sort of the pattern, the velvety patterns that would have been on Badger's clothing. All there. We've got all the sort of detail in the fur there. Actually really nice. Got his hat on there. And around the side, of course, we do have Cosgrove Hall Productions Limited. Just about read 1995 there. So yeah, there's Badger. Here we have Ratty. Now I like Ratty, but my only issue with him is that he's quite small. You put him next to Mole, for example, and Mole's almost towering over him, which isn't right, is it? So yeah, Badger's a little bit titchy, but it is lovely though. We've got lovely details there. You've got the sort of stripes of his jacket there, detail on his fur, and it's lovely that we've got the little picnic basket at the back there, some plants around it. So attention to detail on these is pretty impressive. Even got his oars there, look, lovely. He's carrying, I believe, is that a picnic blanket or something to go with it? He's ready for a picnic basically, isn't he? Really nice. Here you have Toad. Toad, of course, being me, he was the first one I wanted to mould. So when he came out, I was just so impressed with this detail. I didn't expect all the detail in his checkered suit there, and you've got all the bumps on his skin there. And I love his pose. I love these sort of looking up, dreaming, thinking, you know, thinking of his next craze. And this is a lovely detail. We've got here a sign behind him, Toad Hall. You can't quite read it, but if you turn it around, you see that it clearly reads Toad Hall 5 miles, which kind of harks back to the open road sequence where he's sort of out travelling. Really, really nice. And finally, here's Mole, which is nice. As you can tell, he's in the middle of spring cleaning, so harks back to the first chapter in the book, right at the beginning. Got his big paintbrush there, a little smaller paintbrush in his apron there. He's covering what I presume is a pot of paint there. This Mole went a bit wrong. You can see I'm missing half his glasses there, unfortunately. But it's really, really nice. Look at the bow of his apron there, and step ladder behind him. So these are lovely. I'd say out of all the plastic sets, these are the most impressive. They're the smallest, but they're really lovely. So if you can track them down, they're worth having. I can see that sometimes people sell them ready-made and painted. So if you want to go for those, yeah, get bidding. Okay, I have showcased this before in my first video on video releases, but I thought I'd just feature it again in this because it is related to activities, of course. So this is the colouring book that came with the School Days VHS release as part of their Watch and Play range. So I won't go through this in detail, but I'll just flick through the pages. Some of them are coloured in, as you can see. But we've got a lovely sort of set of illustrations, first of all from the episode Hot Air here. And then we go into the episode School Days. So these, I believe, were drawn directly by the artist while they were watching the episodes themselves. And they're actually really nice. So this is super rare. I mean, I've never seen one since. You can see the range of other animated shows or children's shows that are part of the range. But yeah, I'm really glad to have that. Maybe one day I can find one in mint condition, but to be honest, I doubt it. They're very, very rare. But yeah, just thought I'd feature that. And while we're on the subject of videos again, I thought I'd look at this. So I did do another video, YouTube video on VHS releases again recently, but this is one I missed out, and partly because it's actually quite an unusual one, because it's actually wishing whoever receives it a happy birthday. So you can see here we've got video wishes. On your birthday, have a ball. Classic portrait of Toad there, and then we have with Badger, Mole and Toad of Toad Hall. So this is actually a re-release, yet another one of Mole's Cousin and Other Stories. Super rare. If I turn this round, this is, I believe, the third edition of this video, and we have the episodes Mole's Cousin, Oberon's Return and Happy New Year, all three episodes which feature the character Oberon Mole. This was brought out in 1991, but what makes this unique is that if we open it here, it's a birthday card. We have a photo here, Mole with Oberon, with a lovely sort of illustration there, and thankfully this hasn't been filled in, so I've got this in lovely condition, but you'd write who it's to and from there, of course, and then details of the video there. So all the Wind and the Willows characters, Badger, Mole, Ratty and Toad of Toad Hall, are brought magically to life. 56 minutes approx. Inside we've got a beautiful copy of the video that I covered in a previous video there. And that transitions nicely into these wonderful birthday cards that were actually brought out in 2000. So same year that The Wind in the Willows was first released on DVD. I've got all the whole set apart from one. Annoyingly, I'm just missing one of Mole. But let's go through these one by one. They're really nice. So first one here just simply says happy birthday, and we have an image of the four friends. Very common image that we see. It was actually used on that Waddington's game, but annoyingly it's been flipped. So you can see that instantly that's flipped. And whenever this image is flipped, I always think Badger and Toad in particular look a bit odd. They just look a bit odd. They're not quite symmetrical, the original moulds, but there we go. And you can see there, these were brought out by Lightweight Designs. And I think I found these on eBay. Can't quite remember now, but they're definitely no longer available anywhere. So yeah, very, very hard to track down, especially sealed like this. And we can see there 2000 Cosgrove Hall Productions. And it actually says produced under license from Pearson Television International Limited. So Pearson were the distributor of Wind in the Willows at the time. They're mentioned on the DVD release of the film. And of course, when Channel 5 repeated them, the Pearson logo always appeared at the end. So that's that one. We have one of Ratty. And those all keen eyes will see that this is Ratty from the very last episode, Toad Filmmaker. And if I just bring this up, you can see that it's basically a zoomed in image from this one here. So again, this is from Toad Filmmaker, Toad in his outfit for the film. That's really nice. I think, is that one flipped? I can't quite tell actually. Maybe not. Maybe that's not flipped. That's quite nice. That just simply says, well, both of them just simply say The Wind in the Willows, not Happy Birthday. So that could be used for any occasion. We've just got Ratty on the bottom of that one. This one here, this is a congratulations card, and that's Toad from the Grand Annual Show from Series 1. So quite a jump from that episode there. And then we have another happy birthday card with an image from Fancy Dress from Series 2. Mole and Toad, that's quite nice. Another one with simply Wind in the Willows on it. And Toad there, and that of course is Toad from Toad in Love from the last series. So unusual image, that one, very nice to have that photo there. And then finally I have one of Badger, which is just simply says Wind in the Willows, and it's just a zoomed in image of the first one I showed here. So not the most special one, that. But like I say, I'm only missing one of Mole. There was one of Mole brought out, which I believe was just a zoomed in image of Mole there. But otherwise, complete set. So yeah, really glad to have them. Like I say, super rare, very hard to find. Because let's face it, most people write in cards, don't they? Don't keep them like this. But of course, me being me, I had to keep them sealed. And finally, the very last item I want to show in this video is kind of related to activities, as in you would need to put it up on the wall. This is some Wind in the Willows wallpaper. Now this is really, really rare, very hard to find. I was lucky enough though to find 3 rolls of this in one sale, very cheaply. Now annoyingly, I don't want to open this one, this is sealed, and I have another sealed one, but I do have one that isn't sealed, but I can't for the life of me locate it at the moment. So that's annoying. One day I'll hopefully find it and I'll showcase it properly in another video. But just wanted to highlight that these were available. I'm not sure which year, there's no year on this, but it was a company called Colour Roll, wall coverings with style. We've got, you can see other characters here, we've got Pink Panther there, Superman, Super Ted, Playmates, so that's what they were called, washable wallpaper. And you can see here, this is the design and the name, Wind in the Willows. Got the size there, so quite a decent size of wallpaper there. And I must admit, I would have loved this as a child up in my bedroom, really nice. The images are really lovely. You've got all the characters in there. You can just see here, you've got top of Ratty's Riverbank home there, and you've got Badger in there, I believe. But yeah, it's just a shame that I can't show you at the moment. But bear with me, and then one day I will locate that spare roll and open it up properly. So there we have it. That's quite a video. A lot we went through today. All sorts of wonderful items, which does now kind of round up most of the merchandise that I've got anyway. But in future videos, I'm going to start looking at items that are a little bit more special. Some of them are sort of one-offs that deserve a sort of more detailed video on them. But like I say, this pretty much covers all the merchandise. But we do have things like ornaments to look at, pictures, and all sorts of bits and pieces, including some super rare one-off items that I'm looking forward to sharing with you all. But thanks as always for joining me. If you haven't already, please do subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified of future videos. Still aiming to do one every week at the moment, so look out for another video next weekend as we celebrate Buried Treasure, episode 5 from series 1. And thanks again, and I will see you all soon.